it's the end of summer, and for many of us, you know, we're putting down our tools, we're looking around and we're going, is there nothing else I can do now? My fingers, they need to do things. Well, do you know what? I've got the perfect thing for us to be doing right now, and for this evergreen Pyracantha firethorn, the time has come to make a really big and bold decision. But to find out exactly what that decision is, you've got to keep watching, because you're also going to find out probably the single most important thing you can be doing right now when these are idle, but this can be doing some pretty decent work for you. And it all revolves this Pyracantha, kindly donated to me by Joe Garland. Hi, it's Xavier, welcome to my bonsai retreat, and today we are going to be dealing with Joe's Pyracantha firethorn. Now, for those of you who've been with my channel for a while, you'll know that I visited Joe Garland, well, it's over a year ago now. Fantastic garden, someone who's had over 50 years worth of experience in all sorts of bonsai, and he's met pretty well all of the greats way back to the early 80s. In fact, let's just remind us with a little clip of Joe Garland.
Just don't give him something to eat, eh?
You give him something, that's all right, and I'm just going to continue to pan around.
Carry on with what you want to do, and I'll go and sort him out. Come on then.
Now, I am going to say, I think I opened up the episode with your, I think it's a blackthorn, isn't it?
It's blackthorn, yes.
They bought matching cardigan.
Do you just want to have a chat to me about exactly what, because I notice it's got berries on it as well, so let's get in close and have a little look at that.
It needs restyling again now. I'll have to rewire it. I took all the wires off.
Now, as you can imagine, I was blown away by the wealth of experience Joe showed, and more so the fact that he donated me two of what I consider his legacy trees. One was clearly this Pyracantha firethorn, a brute of a stump, which I know Joe has done some initial wiring on, but truthfully, for 12 months I had no idea what to do. I just wanted it to enjoy its new location in Grantham and put on loads and loads of growth. And I find with these Pyracanthas, when we get to this time of year, the later summer, they suddenly put on a massive flush and ideas start to form. So we'll look at this in a moment. But he also gave me this Sarcocollis, which is a form of jade by way, but a much more enjoyable and bonsai friendly one. And this is looking pretty good right now. And if you want to see the adventure and fun I had reducing and taming this, that's definitely the video to see. But let's go back to what the main theme of this video is. What do you do when you're coming to the end of summer and your fingers are just getting a little bit bored? Well, apart from taking the time to admire your crabapple, especially with the lovely crabapple fruit they've got on them, they may well be close enough to have a little nibble. Perhaps that'll be in another video. We can also remind ourselves of probably the single biggest bonsai blunder we all make, apart from Nigel Saunders, and that will be the hint. And in fact, that'll be more in the next video, because these Scots pines, this juniper here, a number of others like this, are desperately waiting for some keen bonsai attention from me in my bonsai retreat. But I know I'm probably putting off what you all want to see. What is it that we should all be doing right now? Well, apart from actually going around and seeing which trees you might actually want to start putting some wire on, because it now is actually starting to become quite a good time with things like the Fuji cherry, where those leaves have pretty well dropped. More of this in another video, probably in 2026. And of course, we definitely now need to be looking at putting our liquid seaweed emulsions and fertilizers and all sorts of stuff like that now, ready for that autumnal pump of root growth that's going to happen. And these actually were courtesy of Gary Brown. Big thumbs up to Gary, and he made them all himself. But yes, I know I'm still putting off what it is I'm going to do with that Pyracantha, because I've got to use this, and that in essence is what now this time of the year is all about. maximising this, going round your garden, looking at all those trees and thinking, how exactly am I going to take this tree forward to the next step? And probably the best way to display that is to finally get back and see what we're going to do with that Pyracantha, because I think we're going to do something quite radical. Yeah, I can't put it off any further. We've got to do some planning and some forward development for many of our trees. The more trees we have, actually, the more we should be out there looking, thinking, finding what are the best features of our developing bonsai. And that is the crucial part that you can be doing right now, whether you've got 1 tree, 2 trees, 20, 200. Actually, I've got to do something with this Pyracantha. It's a lovely, great piece of wood. It's got loads of growth. I mean, when you look at it, then let's just look at it. In fact, before we look at it, I'll remind you of one other thing that has to happen right now. The temperatures are dropping, and although I know I can keep this outside, I know it does better inside. So I've got to take my Ficus, in fact I've got to take a lot of my indoor stuff and start getting them sprayed and ready to come indoors, because I've noticed those leaves starting to change colour. There's no escaping it. I say this thing is a beast. In fact, I might call it Joe's Beast. How about that, Joe? Let me know if you like that. So I'm working with Joe's Beast. We need to identify, one, it's healthy. Well, that's why I left it for a year. I've got loads and loads of growth. Although, if you have a look, and this is sort of commonplace for a lot of things. And by the way, Pyracantha, it is a broadleaf evergreen, and got some lovely, look at the red berries on there. I've got some that have got red berries, but I've also got a few that have got the most incredible yellow got yelly on my brain. Hopefully he's not in my house. Yellow berries. In fact, the only thing that you get really put off by Pyracantha is if you have a look around, like hawthorn, they have the most humongous thorns on them, which if you're going to be working on them is definitely going to cause you some serious injury. So be ready with those band-aids. But if we have a look at this tree, I don't know when Joe actually got it out or how he got hold of it and the history behind it, but it's clearly an old beast. First of all, we have a look around. We've got loads of leaves that have actually got some browning, clearly have been hit with pests and probably some fungal issues. And I think that's one of the things to say to you now. Go around your garden and start having a look, whether it be your oaks, which could have, you know, iron deficiencies, or whether it could be some fungal disease on some of your leaves. Now is a good time to actually take some pictures. These days with your phones, you can probably identify by just taking a picture what is actually wrong, and start looking at some treatment things, because normally by this stage of the year we're probably heading towards a point where we're not really going to be doing much treatment. But we can certainly get ourselves ready next year. So we've finished enjoying the berries, admiring the thorns, looking at all the fungal infection on some of the leaves. All that stuff, by the way, I'm going to be removing. Well, I won't remove all the thorns, but I'm certainly going to be removing all the fungal leaves, the yellowed off leaves as well. And so we then also now need to look at just what an incredible piece of wood this is. It's really quite impressive, and the problem we've got is it's being hidden by two things. The first of it is all these new shoots that's coming out, which is big bonus, it's great, but also we've got this great big parallel trunk which is running parallel to the bench and everything else. And however you justify it, however you think about it, our eyes, well, we veer away from anything that's parallel, straight and uniform, certainly with our bonsai. So we need to do something about that. But first of all, before we do that, we need to decide which is the best side for this. We've got this side here where we've got lots of movement. We've got this big branch here, which actually is another thing. We look at branches like this and we think, how much flexibility and movement have we got? Certainly, like, you know, big runners on hawthorns, we've got these shoots which have still got enough flexibility that maybe we can add some wire to them. We've got lots of little suckers and things like that. Although this isn't about pruning big stuff, because we want all this leaf work now to feed in as much energy as possible to get an absolutely storehouse of energy for the autumnal fall time when it's going to be feeding root growth and get itself ready for winter. but we can certainly start getting rid of lots of little suckers everywhere. But the biggest single thing I have to do right now is decide whether that is the best front or the best side, because certainly that's not going to be the front, and conversely looking up its rear end is definitely not going to be the best front. Or are we looking at this side being the best front, looking at the roots that we've got there, and already I'm going to give it away. Not a lot of branching on this side, so a lot of these suckers and stuff like this I could see myself removing. So the question you ask is, do you want a tree like this that's got a very interesting root base? You can see some movement certainly in the trunk itself, but all the main branches are on the other side. So the reality is all this will be removed and you're going to be faced with a really bare new trunk. Now it's going to be really interesting, and again ultimately it comes down to what you like. And for me, well, the answer is actually the other side. I absolutely love this for a front. I think the root structure and everything here with these coming out, there's a lot more interest to it. There's a lot more to sort of grab your eye and look at and stare and investigate. You can still see in here, you've got a big branch coming towards, which with a bit of wire, we may be able to do something interesting with. Then we get to see a lot of this interesting thick trunk here and the movement in there. But we've still got interesting branches here and then another one here. And once we clear things out, we'll be able to see a bit of a dead wood there. So for me, this is the viewing angle. So there's really only one question. It's got to be doing with the potting angle. Now it's always difficult trying to play around with potting angles when you've got a great big heavy monster tree. And I'd say straight away, this is when it's always good having an extra pair of hands. I haven't got that right now, so I'm just going to have to rely on my brute strength. So first of all, we could just put it upright like that, and that would work very, very well, except for one major issue. This root mass here is going that way and then in that way. So that means all the mass is going to be there. So I don't think for me that's going to be an easy option. It's an elderly tree and I don't want to be playing around with the roots that much. So come on, you're all shouting, Zav, stop going on. In fact, I know there's one person out there who gets so annoyed because I yap, 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 yap. Well, do you know what? I'm sorry. This is all a bit about yapping with Zav, to be honest, and doing a bit of bonsai too. And surprise, surprise, there we go. We're going to have it as a, it's probably going to stay as a semi-cascade. And I think there's a number of reasons why that works for this particular stump. Is we've got the main movement coming down. That's not a problem. And looking above, we've actually got a little bit of wiggly movement as well. So there's interest there. But the key things that I look at here is that in terms of how the roots come out, and then the bend that we've got here, we've got just under, it's like a probably a 160-degree bend underneath there. It's just enough to show a tree that's worked its way over a rocky outcrop perhaps. With the way those roots are set up, I can set them up in, well, I'll tell you the sort of thing I'm looking at. Ideally we could be looking at a pot like this and setting it up on that, although I think this is going to be a little bit small to accommodate that. So instead I've actually got a larch which is in the sort of flatter, squarer sort of semi-cascade pot, and actually that larch is part of another big time-lapse project that's going to be coming out in 2026. So segue, if you haven't hit bell notifications, subscribe and all that sort of great stuff, then honestly this is the time to do it, because that time-lapse has been going on for a little bit of while and it involves a thread graft because I need a few more branches. Anyway, back to this. And as you know, my pruning approach for this tree, any other tree, is exactly the same. 3 straightforward things. I look at the base, clear up all the suckers, get rid of all dead roots, anything like that, get rid of the weeds. I then work my way up the trunk itself, sticking to the trunk, and remove suckers and everything like that. And then I look at the main structure, and then I start looking at which branches do I actually want to keep. Now, the branches I want to kind of keep are all going to have this lovely long growth. So I'm not going to be removing lots of life-giving leaves or stuff like that, but I will be removing diseased leaves and just little shoots and suckers until what we've got left is something that I might well be able to work on. So let's start, shall we? You need to systematically go around, and as you know, getting rid of your moss from around the trunk itself, because as we're moving towards winter, the last thing we want to be doing is allowing this to develop all sorts of horrible stuff. So I am going to be basically taking all the moss levels off, and that'll give me also a chance just to see if there's anything obvious going wrong in this upper area. A bit vague that sounds, but have a little look. And also I can see the soil looks like Joe put it in Akadama, and that has definitely been breaking down, so clearly been in here for a bit of time. So I'm going to continue to work around this and take away a lot of this greenery, little stuff like this, get rid of that. I'll come back to you when that's done. Although, come on, should we get rid of that now? That is just poking me right now. I know that's out of order, but let's remove that. Remove that one as well. Okay, so I think I've pretty well done the base there. I've taken probably 2 or 3 millimeters off the surface, and you'll notice that on this side there's I've actually emptied that right out, and that's because I wanted to have a look at the trunk part here and see how it's going to look when I change the angle. I may well end up removing a couple of these roots at the repot. But on this side I'm quite happy to have this mass in here. It's actually providing support for the tree, and if I took all that soil out, there is a chance that I could actually end up killing a few of the roots here. You never quite know, so all I want to do is get rid of all the growing weeds and things and just make sure, clean up around the trunk. And I'm happy I've done that. So that's the base done. We all know, second step, let's start having a look at this trunk and deciding how many of these suckers we're actually going to want. And when you've got so many suckers, and this happens with azaleas, it happens with a lot of these sort of things, I find where I've got long shoots, I look at them, and if we've got a long shoot, I'll keep those. So the first step is I will go around and remove all the little small ones and just start working my way around and getting rid of them. And at the same time, I will also start removing some of the knobs and knuckles that are just unsightly. So now I need to work our way around that, and then we can start talking about what we'll do with these bigger pieces. Okay, well hopefully you can see the difference. You can actually, again, this is what I say, when you remove all the old manky stuff and suckers and things like that, you can very quickly find that you're actually able to see right through, and the tree starts to come to life. Certainly the ideas that are sparking around here do. Now you can see the potting angle, it's lovely. You can see this trunk here, we've got individual branches and stuff like this, separations. I'm probably just going to go through the usual, because the next stage, once we've cleared all that out, is to resolve all those things that are clearly wrong. Do the easy bit. So we're looking at junctions of 3, or we're looking at branches that are pointing the wrong way, or a branch where you clearly are not going to want it. And I'm not going to cut these big long lengths that are in your way, unfortunately, but just here we have literally got 1, 2, 3, and then a great big branch on the back, all coming from the same junction point. Now bearing in mind we're looking at a semi-cascade, we want branches that are going to go this way. So we can already say this one is unwanted. Equally, we look at this branch, that's actually going almost 170 degrees back on itself, so that one is unwanted. So now we've reduced this clump to 1, 2, and this decision is made a lot easier simply because we've already got a nice low branch down here, which is going to be the lowest of my cascades. If we look in closer here, you'll see that there's actually 2 branches that are handlebars, so we won't want those anyway, so we'll remove those. And so when we now look in this area here, we've got this little low branch just here, and we've got which is quite heavy and clunky, and then coming out of it we've got this one here which is much more long. It's got lots of growth on it. I'll be able to manipulate that, so I'm actually going to take that one out. So I've actually removed 4 down to 1, and this one I'll be able to wire and manipulate exactly how I want it. So that's the sort of process I'm going to follow all around there. Get rid of things that are clearly not going to help in the design. And I think probably the only thing I'll highlight here is that one of the things I will be guided by is I'm going to be wiring. Now this specimen, Pyracantha, backbuds so easily, it is also an ideal candidate for purely clip and grow. So if you are going clip and grow, then decisions such as you've got one here that's already coming up, you might just say, right, it's the wrong one, I'm going to remove it straight away and wait for something in a much better position. But I'm also going to be looking at these longer whips as to how it is that I can potentially wire them into the shape I want. And I'll say this now, actually coming back, I've cleared out this pad, so we've got a pad here, cleared this out. It's just very, very simple. There's literally only 3 or 4 shoots on it. This will get wired flat, this will get wired out, and then it's really clearing this out. But this is the classic problem that most of us face, especially when we're starting. Lovely, great growth, it looks like, you think, well, it's good, but I'm building a cascade. I want things coming out this way in pad form, and that is actually getting in the way of what is right here a really nice small developing branch, which I think will do really, really well. And the only way that branch there is ever going to develop into something, bear in mind we've actually got 1, 2, 3, is if the energy isn't going up into this one here. We're going to there. Excuse the drilling we've got going on. So we do that. And that, by the way, Pyracantha, easy cuttings, almost stick it straight in the dirt. So as you can see, we've really got this clarified out. I'm going to apply wire to all these ones here so we can get the horizontal pads growth going. Same with this one under here. Now one of the issues you might say is we've got this great big long growth right at the bottom, which is going the wrong way, and then this little one going upwards. The obvious choice would be to cut that off. But if I was to wire that and actually put that further round so that I can create more pads going down, so I'm going to create another pad level by putting heavier wire here. Okay, well I've spent about 20 minutes, just got those all these branches here wired out, and I'm now just going to try and place them into the position that I want so that we can create some pad separation, but also create the future spaces that we need for the new backbud growth that will happen. What we're ultimately trying to do is try and place branches that look natural, although we've obviously put them in place ourselves. And as you know, it's something I like to concentrate on totally, because get this wrong and you see this is the branch that was poking upwards. What I'm slowly able to do with the wire is actually drop it and then bring it back and across. Same with this one, bring it down and create the pads that are going to come out this way. There's a few like this one that's upwards. There's a reason why I've kept that, but we'll go to that in a minute. So I'm going to now start going through the process of systematically putting in lovely little bends and wiggles so that we can have this lovely looking bonsai in a few years' time. And the big thing that I've got to try and do now is see whether or not I've got sufficient wire on this to be able to totally rotate it down as a new pad without snapping. I'm not sure this is going to work, but I'm going to try, because I'd love to try and make this into actually a full cascade. It's just whether I can put enough. There you go. Pretty tough is the Pyracantha, to be fair. Okay, well, I've definitely managed to get that. I think it's going to be down definitely to a full cascade. So, just want to get the appropriate bends in there. Which means now these ones I don't need to cut, I can just shorten them at a later stage and they will be usable. That'll go in the wrong direction. That'll be fine. Not going to shorten these off, I need to wire those two. And really I just need to do some adjustments on the rest of these, but I've done it. I've got it actually below the level of the pot. So what do you think? I've actually managed to get those all wired out. They're cascaded, so we're going to cascade along. But this one, I've managed to get it right down here, which is definitely going to be below the lip of the pot, which means I'm going to definitely have to change the idea on the pot. I can't have a flat base, so maybe I will still try and get it into this, or one that's slightly bigger than this, but going to need some height. I'm really happy with what I've done there, and the good thing about it, although the wiring's fine, again, like I said to you, I've got wire coming out because I want the shoots to continue to grow, thicken. But I imagine next year, probably when we do the repot, I'll cut them right back so we can get new fresh growth through 2026. What about that, I hear you ask? Do you know what? Sometimes it's really quite easy. That's that done, and we only need to look at one thing now, and that's its clutter branches here. Because although I've got this lovely cascade coming here, it would be quite nice to get one or two of these to grow up that way, which means I only need one or two. So let's have a look at that cluster of 5 and see which ones I pick. Mind you, just having seen it now like this, I actually quite like the movement you see here. And if these branches grow out, with this being the more dominant part of the cascade, maybe this has potential to be the better front. You let me know in the comments what you think. That's quite a nice root system there as well. So we really need to look at these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I think clearly we're not going to want anything coming from the back. Very low down, so we'll get rid of that one. This one, no, I don't want that one. So all that really is this one here, one up here, this one, and this one, which is quite close to these two here. I'm probably going to remove, I think it's just going to be a feeling rather than a, there we go, so we're down to 2. This has got to become the apex, which means this, all I might do is just put a little bit of wire initially so it's going upwards in the right direction. I need it actually to come back a little bit. And maybe put wire on that one as another option. Yeah, I've definitely changed my idea about the front. I really quite like this, so just put this out as another pad there, and all I want this to do is to just come slightly back and then back that way, and then I'll grow a really big apical region up here. And this is very loosely wired, and just see what grows from that. Wow, even I didn't expect this. And there we go. So whether you like the other front or this front, the best thing about it is I don't need to make that decision until we do the repot, which probably, well, let's be honest, who here thought that I also wanted to repot it? And I'll say to you now, I thought, do you know what, I probably could do a bit of a repot on this. But this is the times when you go, I don't have to do it. I don't want to put this at risk at all, and it's nice and healthy. So I concentrated fully on just removal of the stuff I didn't want, put the branches into place, get the new design so I know what angle it's going to be. It also means I've got time to potentially find myself a nice pot before March, and I do believe we might have Bonsai Fest in Newark by then, so I may be looking for a really nice pot to put this in. Wow, I think this has changed so much, and I'll say, Joe, let me know now in the comments, do you like the direction I'm going with this, or did you have a completely different plan? That's what I love about bonsai. There's no right or wrong answer, mostly. We can do it badly, but it's about what we're happy in our garden, and another big tree to find somewhere to sit. I'm happy, and hopefully you've picked up a few tips along the way, and you'll be busy right now finding out what you're going to do, how you're going to style, how you're going to repot in spring, because we do need to start thinking about that and start doing some of our pruning with new potting angles in mind. Anyway, also for me to say is we're going to be talking about the big #1 issue that still blights the bonsai retreat, and I'm sure many of your gardens, except of course Nigel Saunders. You're bound to know the subject, but apart from that, that's a fantastic video to watch. Otherwise, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.